Hi guys, and a welcome to yet another video from me. I'm really smashing them out today, I tell you. You can tell I got a day off, can't you? So this video is going to be, I want to call this is CM0102, as close to real life as possible. So I've got various other videos about patches and tweaks and this and that. This particular version I've loaded up here, this is my test game that I run tests with to do tactic testing. But I wanted to fire it up just to show you a few things. This is my setup basically. So firstly, let's talk about I think I've hit on a lot of this over the different videos. Inflation I've got at 2.5 I believe. My inflation is set at. Let's just check that just to make sure. Maybe it's not, maybe it's ×2. Maybe it is ×2, judging by that. Okay. So the inflation ×2, to make it as close to real life as possible, I think ×2 works. ×2.5 might work. Some people think that it should be higher. But what you've got to remember about inflation is multiplying anything with a currency and with a number. So your gate receipts is doubled. Your wage bill is doubled. Your bonuses are doubled, and I did hit on this before, but it's really important that you know that. So let's take Bernardo Silva. If we were playing ODB, if we had no inflation, he'd be worth £18 million. He'd be worth £18 million, and he would be on 90 grand a week. That's a fact. His bonuses would be 3,000 or so. So don't get confused. His value, like I say, would be 18. So don't get confused with that at all. Okay. So that's the one tweak I've got. I want to make this as close to real life as possible. And the next thing I'm going to show you, a lot of people ask this question, Kevin De Bruyne. His dribbling 24, off the ball 26, passing 26. This is as close to real life as possible. So if you didn't have the uncapped 20s misc patch applied, you wouldn't see it. Dribbling would just say 20. Passing would just say 20, and so on and so on. Some people say, I want to stick with the original, but in my opinion, right, and this is only an opinion, if you're looking at a player who's got a 20 dribbling, and this player who's got a 20 dribbling, and in actual fact, one of them may well have, as you can see here, a 24 dribbling, and this guy might be a 21. So if you're toying between buying two players, it doesn't give a true reflection on the player comparison, if you use a player comparison, that is. I don't know if it's flawed, the player comparison, when you've got this. Let's just let's check that now, shall we? So let's take, who should we take? Jack Grealish. Right, okay, yeah, Jack Grealish, perfect. 21 dribbling, okay. And we said that Kevin De Bruyne was 24. So let's see. Yeah, so it's not flawed at all. So Kevin De Bruyne's dribbling is in favour by 3. Now, if we didn't have the uncap, it would say that they're both level, because they both come as 20, wouldn't they? Do you understand what I mean? So if you're, let's pretend you're Barcelona, who should you buy, Kevin De Bruyne or Jack Grealish? You're going to think, I want someone that's a good dribbler. When in actual fact, De Bruyne is a better dribbler. So if we look at Lionel Messi, is another example there. Creativity 22, penalties, passing. I think there's some attributes that don't exceed the 20 mark. Things like influence, flair. I think predominantly it's your passing. It's predominantly the ones that you see. Let me check Ronaldo as well. He might have a few. Off the ball, penalties. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. So if you think back to the ODB, Maximin Sigalko, he has a 20, or he certainly climbs to a 20 in finishing. Technically speaking, it's actually more than 20. We all know it's more than 20 because he's a beastly striker. So I want it as close to real life as possible. So that's my next thing. Okay, some things that I've got are very, very minor. Let me show you. So I've chosen my test game as Man City. Let's go to Arsenal. Pick a player, any player. Benjamin White. Which you click on contract, we can see the AI and what their squad status is. Now, as a computer, AI, you don't normally see that. I want to be able to see it. I think, in my little fucking world up here, not much up here, I want to, if you were a real football manager, you'd know if Ben White was out of favour at Arsenal, wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? So I know. Let me take someone for example. Let's take someone that's unhappy. Rob Holdham, not needed by the club. Now I know I could. He's unsettled, and I could probably bid, as you know, 4 million, and they should probably accept it. He's not needed. Okay. If I decide to look at Pepe, they probably won't accept it. Okay. God, I hate that bastard. Aubameyang. Now hang on, Rowe. I think Rowe's a hot prospect. I don't really understand why he'd be a hot prospect. It's 70 grand a week. That is insane. So I like the AI. You being able to see the AI's squad status. Ben Chilwell not needed. The not needed players are not necessarily those that are listed. If they're listed, they'll be not needed, obviously. But you might sometimes find some players that are not needed, but they're not listed, if that makes sense. Let's say, just look at right, okay. So that's that. I really like that. Okay, my finance. You can see how much money I've got. I like to see any team's finance. Spurs, 160. Why shouldn't we know what we've got? Why shouldn't we know what they've got? You know, and the reason for this, right, is have you all had it, right, when a fucking team bids for a player, and it's normally when the deal's going to go through, when the window opens. Window opens, and the deal gets cancelled because they haven't got the money. So when I'm doing a deal with anybody, particularly the littler teams, I want to check that they've got the money and they're not going to fuck me over. So that's why I like to be able to see. I think it's only right in my opinion, you know. And if I'm playing a network game, they can obviously see my money. West Ham have spent a bomb. I'm sure they have. They always do. They always do. Look at that. So that's that. Now, some of you may have already seen. Let's go to. Can you see my training ground? It says excellent, but you see in the brackets, it's actually got your training ground rating, 20 and 20 for your, is it training ground and your facilities, I believe. And that's another new thing, just a little tweak. So let's look at Brighton, 18 and 20. Villa, 2020. I think most have got 2020. Here you go, they've all got 2020, it looks like. Fucking hell. So if we look at Watford, we'll have shit. No, let's look at a shit team. Burnley, no. Norwich, 15-20. So I'd say one of them is facilities, which is probably the first one, and one of them is probably youth or something like that. Okay, so that's just a little thing that I don't know, OCD call it. That's a little thing that I personally like. The next thing, now. It's going to be difficult for me to show this next bit, but I will show you. So the job list, if you've got all countries, more than one country open, like England, Scotland, blah blah blah, and you click on the international job, it will show you all the available job. No, I've got that totally wrong. You click on any of the individual countries, so England, it will show you all the available jobs in all the countries, so all on one page. You know, it's all on one page, as opposed to you going to England, going to Scotland, going to France. It'll all be on one, just to make it just a little tiny little thing, just to make it that little bit more authentic. So I don't have the work permits on. I think the work permits are not like they ever used to be in football, that they were 20 years ago when the game was first released. So I have them removed, and you'll see there's no player restrictions on that as well. 7 subs. This is the Charity Shield. So let me just check. Let's check Chelsea. 7 subs, 3 used. I think I've got that wrong, if I'm honest with you. I think it's actually 9 subs, 5 used. I think I had it as 9 subs, 5 used, to reflect the real life after the first lockdown when they resumed playing. But I'm not going to bother altering it, because I think within the next month or so we'll have a new update, possibly a new patch, and I'll deal with it then, so I can deal with that. Let's see, what else have we got in and around to just tweak my game up just a little bit more. I don't actually think there's anything too much more, to be honest with you. But it's all about, you know, I don't know if everyone's different. I know I have an ODB install and I have this install. They're pretty much the only two installs that I will start a new game on. I've got one other version which is purely for my network games that I'll only play just for my network games. I will not start a new game. And that is that. Yeah, so yeah, all good. Can you tell it's a tactic testing game? Can you tell that, yeah? So that's it. If you've got any questions, guys, or anything that I might have missed, or anything you want to add, you know, jot it down. Let's hear it. Let's share it. And if you've got any requests of anything you want doing with CM, any videos, I will try to do it for you. Not guarantee though. Till next time, guys. Take it easy.